it's Fantasia. Welcome to my channel, Sewing with Tay. And today is a sewing video. I have a small business, as some of you know, where I do like custom garments, alterations, and I teach sewing classes. Sewing classes was a thing on my bucket list for a few years that I really wanted to do. I really want to teach people how to sew and be crafty because for me personally, I think it just changed the trajectory of my life, learning how to sew at 16. And I was going to go to law school, and I ended up in college for fashion design, graduated with a degree in fashion design with concentration in manufacturing and production. And now I'm a technical designer. Not what my plan was originally going into my final years of high school, but it's because I took a class that taught me how to sew that kind of changed my life. So that's a big thing for me as far as giving back and learning how to sew. But as you know, teaching sewing classes is expensive because typically you have your own sewing machines. You have to come up with a time and a format for classes. So that has been a big undertaking, but I'm almost at 1 year of teaching sewing classes. I started last June once I got my own studio space, and the building that my studio is in has conference rooms that I can book for my classes. So now that you have the backstory, if this is your cup of tea, hit the notification bell and the subscriber button so you know when I make new videos. Today is about my little small business and my little win of today. A girlfriend of mine reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this site? It's like an auction website." And I'm like, "No, what is that?" And she told me about it. I went to the website. About $100 later, I done bought 5 things off of this auction website, and you pick them up locally in places here in my city in Columbus, Ohio. One of the things that I found was a serger. Now, a serger was not on my to-do list of things that I wanted to purchase for my business, but I have one serger. I've had it for at least 10 years, minimum 10 years I've had it. It has not failed me. But for my sewing classes, when I'm sewing, showing my students seam finishings and ways to finish a seam, I have like a little sample book that has different types of seam finishes. And one of those is serging. But I have machines. I was fortunate enough to be able to buy some machines from another discount place here in Columbus. I got 4 Singer heavy duty machines for like 200 bucks. 200 bucks. So I have nice machines for my students to see and practice with, but I didn't have a serger. It wasn't necessary, but I wanted it like future, like not anything I was thinking about right now. But I found a serger on this website, so I thought, okay, I'll join the auction and see how it goes. I got a Singer serger for $30. Y'all, I am so excited. So it is an auction site. Some things come in different conditions. It could be brand new, as is, etc., etc. So this was an as is. Fingers crossed. It says all the pieces are there. I haven't opened the box yet, so I'm going to open the box here with you guys, and we can open the serger together and make sure all the pieces are here. I plan to take this to my studio so that when I do teach my class, I can actually show them what a serger looks like and they can test it out themselves. So let's get into the unboxing. Actually, before we get into the unboxing, I wanted to further explain this little auction process. So with this auction website, it's a bunch of states on there, and I picked Ohio and I picked Columbus because that's where I'm located. There's a bunch of locations, and then I just was searching and searching, like, what could I possibly want from this place? Of course, I searched sewing machines, and they had some other brands sewing machines. But I'm like, okay, maybe not those, but I did find the serger, as I told you guys, and I made a bid, and I think my bid was like $5 or something, and I think there was a couple other watchers or bidders, and then at one point someone did come and like outbid me, but you can set a max bid, so I set my max bid for 30. So I think they probably waited like closer to the end of the auction to like make a new bid, but because my max bid was higher, the website automatically placed a bid for me. It was 30 bucks, and that's what it was. There wasn't fees. It was like $10, $12, like maybe like $10 extra. It was like a $5 and $1, a bunch of other little fees that were added on. So I paid a little bit over $30 for it, but my bid for it was $30. And then you only have 3 days to pick it up. Between the hours of 12 and 6, I have a corporate job. Thankfully, I do work from home on 2 days a week, so I was able to go on my lunch break because it was closer to my house. I was able to go on my lunch break and pick it up. But now let's get into the unboxing. Now that you know how to buy it, and I'll put the link to the auction place in the description just in case you want to see if they got something like that in Gill City. Okay, let's unbox. I'm like anxiously awaiting opening this box. I've been waiting to make this video so that I can do it with you guys. All right, here's my box. You see it's been retaped if you can see that. I am going to start with my little scissors and we're going to open it up. Okay, you'll see me talking, but I'm choosing to do a voiceover because the mic was too far away and it was just like bumpy noise, etc. But it had the pieces that come with it, the tweezers, the screwdriver, extra needles, the Allen wrench to like change the needle, all of those things. Here is the foot pedal. As you can see, it's definitely been opened. So I was like, Eesh, okay, I'm scared of what I'm gonna find when I open this box. But there's the foot pedal, and then I'm just gonna go dive right into pulling out the styrofoam and getting to the machine. At first glance, you can tell someone has definitely used the machine. This was me attempting to bring the mic closer, but didn't work very well. So there was threads and things on the machine that I could tell that somebody attempted to use this machine. So I'm just gonna just pull it out and jump right into it. This is my first time with a Singer Serger. I've only had a brother one, so I thought it was cool that they have these little suction cups on the bottom to keep the machine from vibrating away. That is a really nice feature. It is kind of annoying when you have to move your machine, but it is cool to have. So I'm just starting to like set this back up. I'm gonna start over from scratch and just remove all of these threads and do some test stitchings. And the opening door was a little kind of sticky at first, like it didn't want to close all the way. And I realized that Singers don't have trays. My brother's machine has a little tray where the cuttings from your serger will land. This does not. So I'm like, what do you do for that? Do you just just clean up as you sew? I don't know, something I noticed. But getting into the machine, this machine is threaded differently than my brother machine, or at least the way that I thread my brother machine. This has different like levers that you have to hook when you're threading your machine. So I'll go through that a little bit later. But visually, everything kind of looks like what I would expect it to outside of the lever that I wasn't familiar with on the inside of this. So I had to open the pamphlet to make sure I knew what I was doing to actually thread this serger. All right, so we're gonna start threading the machine. I'm gonna give y'all a quick demo. The first thing we have to do is get our threads on. I have cone threads. This second from the last one is actually the one it says to thread first. So that's what I'm going to do. So you see here, it's this row there. There's a little thread guide at the top. Make sure your thread goes through the tension disc and down in between the guide. And I'm gonna give you a little close up of the bottom. So you're going to follow the red dots. So red dot here, here, and up here. And then you're going to thread it through the lower looper. So I'm going to try to do this the best I can without my hands getting in the way. Try to adjust my camera a bit. All right, so once we get settled, it's going to go through the first hook. You hook it around, clip it under this loop down here and over this top loop up there. And then I'm going to slightly turn my wheel so that the lower looper is a little bit closer. I'm sorry I didn't get a better view of this, but you just thread it front to back. It's the little hook of a needle kind of looking guy right here in the front. I also like to take my presser foot off, so I lift it up. There's a little lever on the back. Whole foot comes off and you click it. So now we're going to go back to the next step. So that's number one. Number two is actually the outer thread. So you're going to put in a thread guide in between the tension disc, and then we're going to go down and we're going to follow the yellow dots, and there's quite a few. This is the biggest difference between the Singer and my brother machine. So we follow these yellow dots, and there's a little hook on the side that you have to kind of click into. So we're going to get these yellow dots threaded, these thread guides, and then I'm going to try to give you a closer view so you can kind of see what's happening here. So I have all the thread guides threaded, and then we're going to loop this thread around these little hooks. So I'm going to zoom in. The hooks are here, and there's a little lever down below it that moves it up and down. So we're going to zoom in now, and there you go. You see there was little hooks up there. We're going to try to get this piece of string around those hooks. And I was struggling with this a bit this time. The first time I did it, it wasn't that bad, but you have to get these onto the hooks, and if better if you go down and up from what I've practiced so far. You want to put that thread around the bottom hook there, and then on the top hook. Make sure that it's not caught behind there. It'll look a little bit like that. There's a little lever down below, and I'm going to adjust my camera again. Once you get the hook and you're going to lift this lever up, push it in there to click it into the machine. Sorry, I knocked the camera a bit. And then you're going to thread the lower looper, which is that needle right there that's sticking out. It has a little hole on the end. Once you get it threaded front to back, then you're going to pull your threads to the back. Now all we have to do is thread our needles, which are super easy. The machine has you thread the second one first and then the first one, which is odd to me, but I'm just following what the machine says. So we're just going to clip the thread into the thread guides just like we did all the other ones and slide it down through the slit, making sure that it's inside the tension disc. And we're going to do that for the first one and the second. I just kind of did these together so I don't have to keep moving the camera back and forth. But you're going to go up, down, and around. There's a thread guide at the top of the needle bar. Try to zoom in just a smidge so we're not so far away. We're going to click it around there, and then make sure you put the thread into the right needle. So the first thread goes into the first needle, and the second thread goes into the second needle. And once you kind of get through this process, it's a little it's not that hard, but it's a little more time consuming. I think the most difficult part about this is that lower looper, but once you get that part, these threading the needle bars and everything else, it's super easy. It's nothing to stress about. I know a lot of people are intimidated by the Serger, and I've learned to just take it by the horns and do it. So I'm gonna put my foot back on. I'm gonna pull my thread up and under the foot so that they're all together. And then I'm going to do a practice chain to make sure that everything is threaded and it is working correctly. So we'll make sure all of our threads are working. And we're going to start here, and now we have a thread chain. So we are good to go. And then I'm going to test on a little piece of scrap fabric, and it's the little Ankara that I had. It's so pretty, of course. I probably wouldn't use black thread for this, but I just had to make sure that it was working. I had a little error here, and I'm like, wait, did I do something wrong? So then I had to try again. So I went and checked and make sure that everything was started correctly, and then I started again. My these machines don't have a little drawer, so my fiber scraps just fall on the floor. But it serged my fabric really nicely, and I'm super happy that I got this guy for only $30.